What's up, horror fam? You know what time it is. And it's time for the best podcast on the internet. We're talking the Horror Chronicles podcast. As you see, I got an empty chair beside me today. My co-host Ryan decided he was going to flake on me. That's all right. He's not flaking. He just got caught up at work. Y'all know who I am. You know what we're about. And today we've got a cool guest on the line. We've got Ghost Joe from the Warped Reality podcast. Let's get him in here and pick his brain for a little bit. What's up, Joe? How you doing tonight, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going?
Great. Good. Hey, sorry you're getting half a crew here, but that's how
it happens sometimes, man. I get it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say that Ryan's a dick and he didn't want to talk to you. I don't know. I'm just kidding. No, like I said, Ryan got caught up at work. He just sent me a message and said, "Hey, man, is there any way you can do this without me? Because I am stuck at work." Well, sucks for you, Ryan.
That's all good.
I'm not working.
Listen, I'm a correctional officer, so I know all about getting mandatory overtime and getting stuck at work.
Hell yeah.
I totally understand that, you know?
So like I said, everybody, this is Ghost Joe. He has a podcast called the Warped Reality Podcast, and we've got him on here tonight. We're going to tell some stories. We're going to get to know him, let him promote his show, and pick his brain a little bit. So let's get into this.
Sounds good.
So, Joe, how long you been podcasting?
We've been podcasting since November, actually. Started with...
so fairly recent.
Yeah, actually. Started with the Ghost Tax podcast.
Okay.
Which was with me and my co-host, Tom, who were both correctional officers. So a lot of people didn't really know the whole history behind the name. The reason why we called it the Ghost Hacks podcast is because hack is a derogatory term towards a correctional officer. It means horse's ass carrying keys. So, yeah. So we called it the Ghost Hacks podcast, and it was, basically two correctional officers talking about things we don't understand,
That's cool, man. That's cool.
But I was I'm the believer, and he was the skeptic.
Okay, all right.
The whole thing, which, I think you need a skeptic sometimes.
You do.
To kind of bring you back to reality,
Yeah.
And then, we did 18 or 19 episodes, but his wife is going to be having a baby soon. So he's like, listen, bro, I can't really continue this anymore.
Right.
I'm not going to have any time to do it anymore. He's like, this was your thing. This was your baby anyway. So, whatever you want to do is cool with me, so I really didn't feel comfortable keeping the name and keeping all that stuff. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to rebrand, and I'm going to call that season 1, and I'll start off season 2 as the Warped Reality podcast. And it's
sure. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. It's, you're losing your partner, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I did.
But yeah, I mean, it was good banter, man. It was fun. It was definitely interesting,
Yeah, that's cool, man.
But I'll tell you, it's definitely hard to. I did maybe 3 shows by myself, and it was hard. That first show by myself was ridiculously hard to do. Because it's just weird to not have somebody, like interacting with you while you're doing it.
Yeah, you need that other person to feed off of.
Right.
I've had to do a couple shows by myself, and it's bizarre, dude. It really is. With us, I mean, we're a couple goofballs, so we just goof on each other the whole time,
Right.
But yeah, you need that other person there. So on the new show, the Warped Reality show, are you going to have a co-host?
I might have like guest co-hosts here and there. And I'm also going to have a couple, I'm going to add in a few more segments. One of my friends, April is going to have a segment, so I'm going to have her come out and, record some stuff and do a segment on the show every week or whatever. And yeah, I'll probably do it like that. And, I'm still going to continue with interviews to fill up time and all that too.
Sweet. And so what kind of things do you guys cover over there?
I mean, anything paranormal, man. I'm, like I said, I'm the believer. So, yeah, I've had some, I wouldn't say a lot of paranormal experiences, but I've had a handful of paranormal experiences, and they were very significant, from anywhere from knocks and hearing whispering to seeing full-bodied apparitions, so, so we talk about that. We'll talk about paranormal news. The one thing that actually I was always kind of interested in, but I never really got into it until I started the podcast, is the whole UFO alien thing.
Yeah.
And that's really been interesting me lately.
Especially with everything going on in the news.
Because there's been a lot of stuff going on with that. Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that I think is crazy is that, if you remember years ago, whenever the news would talk about a UFO sighting, it was always like a joke to them. Right. They would always, oh yeah, the little green men are going to come down. And, they would always make some kind of joke. They're not joking anymore. No, when they put this stuff on the news, it's serious now.
Yeah.
So the tone definitely changed with that.
Yeah. It's been a huge 180. I mean, the government and everything. I mean, everybody's talking about it. They're releasing files left and right. I mean, you've got high up officials in the government now, talking about this stuff and actually pushing it out there.
Yeah,
it's kind of a weird time right now.
Yeah, I agree, and I honestly, I think that something is going to come out soon. I think they're going to have. I think they're going to have to, because there's just too much evidence. Mm-hmm. There's too much people coming out. Too many, like you said, high-ranking officials questioning it and coming out. These high-ranking Navy people coming out saying, "I saw this." It's too much coming out for them to deny it.
Well, and you've also got senators and stuff, talking about this stuff. For us, for us guys that have been into paranormal and weird stuff all our lives, this is unheard of. You've got people so high in the government actually talking about this stuff and saying, yes, it's out there. Yes, here's the videos. No, we don't know what it is.
Right.
Before they would just hide everything.
Right. It's honestly, it's exciting to me, because the thing is, honestly, I don't think there's anything to be scared of, because if these extraterrestrials or whatever they are, if they wanted to hurt us, they wouldn't wait for us to know about them before they blow up the world. You know what I mean? They're just going to do it. They're not going to want media coverage before they start to do something.
Right.
They would have did it hundreds of years ago. Yeah. They wouldn't wait till now. So I don't think that they're bad or anything like that.
Right. Well, and I'm the type of person, I truly believe they've been here before, mm-hmm. and are possibly still here and have been here for thousands of years. You look at the signs, I'm one of those guys. Look at the Great Pyramids in Giza. How the hell could anybody at that time be able to build them things with such precision? Mm-hmm. It's just mind-boggling. Somebody had to help them with that.
Right.
You got other things like the Nazca lines, all these huge murals or, images that have been carved into the desert floor that, standing on the ground, you would have no idea what it was. You can't even see these things until you're on a plane above.
Right. Yeah.
How? Somebody had to have helped with this.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I totally agree with you. I mean, that's the one thing. Like I said, you know, I had never really looked into it before the podcast, and I'm like, man, I've been missing out, man. You
Yeah.
know, like knowing about this stuff. Now I'm starting to try and learn all of the major players in the whole UFO community and stuff, all the major
Right.
people,
Right.
trying to get to know who they are, who the fakes, who the people that are reputable, you know.
Yeah.
And
One of the big ones out there that honestly I could listen to the guy all day is George Knapp.
mhm.
I'm sure you've heard that name before.
Yeah.
Him and Jerry Cannell, is that his name? Cannell, I think is his name. He is really big into the whole UFO and alien conspiracy. He's actually been well. Both of those guys have been on Joe Rogan before. So I mean, something to be said about that. Man, Ryan's gonna be pissed because he's been wanting to talk about this forever, dude. He actually came to me like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was like, "Dude, I got an idea for an alien episode." I'm like, "All right, let's do it," And now here we are. You and I are doing it. We're on it, man. Ryan, we got you covered, buddy.
Actually, one of the first shows, probably not the first show that I'm going to do with the Warp Reality podcast, because I'm having the first show as like another introduction show for me. But possibly the second or the third episode, I'm going to put out an interview that I did with a man named Steve Neal, who's been in the UFO community. He's a like, I don't even know. He wore a lot of hats in the Hollywood industry.
Okay.
He calls himself a monster maker because he's made like all kinds of costumes and monster costumes. He worked on the original Ghostbusters, Fright Night, the Star Trek movie. He made this. I thought this was the coolest thing. He made Spock's ears for the Star Trek movie. I said, how could you get any better than that? I said, I'm not a Star Trek person. I said, but that's iconic. Spock's ears are iconic, and you made those for the movie. I said, that's incredible.
Yeah, that is crazy, dude.
But he's had many UFO sightings as well as abductions, and I'm skeptical with people that I bring on my show. Well, not skeptical of people I bring on the show, but of course, you got to be a little bit weary about people coming on the show, because you don't want somebody that's going to reject, like completely fake everything on your show. You don't want your listeners to have that. You want them to have an authentic experience. But he's definitely the authentic guy. Like, I believe every word he's saying. He's a very smart, very, very knowledgeable guy about all things UFOs, about a lot of things.
That's cool.
So his interview, I met him through, because another thing that I love to do is I'm a huge virtual reality enthusiast.
Okay.
I love virtual reality. I love my Oculus Quest, and there's this one app called AltSpace, where it's a social app where you go, in avatar form in virtual reality. You go to like comedy shows and open mic nights and all sorts of things like that. And one of the things I do is I have my own show, Paranormal Talk with Ghost Joe. And ever since, I do it every so often, and he was always showing up to my shows. So he said to me one day, he goes, listen, do me a favor, Google me when I'm leaving right now. He goes, but Google me. I said, okay. So I Googled him. I'm like, this dude worked on Ghostbusters? I said, that's insane. And then, like I said, I started talking to him more and more, and I asked him to be on the show, and he's like, oh, definitely. That's
freaking cool as shit, dude.
Yeah. I ended up talking to him for almost 2 hours. I'm like, I'm going to have to make this a part 2. Because he was such an interesting guy, That's
awesome.
And I can't wait for people to hear his interview, because it's
cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, along with the UFO stuff, I mean, are you going to be talking about, like, I know you said everything paranormal, so you're going to get into, cryptids and ghosts and all that stuff too?
Yeah, actually, we on episode 19 of the Ghost Hacks podcast, I had an interview with a woman named Crystal Panic, who is the New Hampshire person for the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization.
Okay.
And that was another great interview, man. I gotta say, her interviews were, she was a great interview, very knowledgeable, down to earth. She's not the type. She's like, listen, she goes, me and my sister saw Bigfoot when we were younger.
Okay.
She's like, but she goes, since I'm in this role and I'm an investigator, she goes, I go there to disprove it. She goes, I don't go there and automatically say, oh, that was Bigfoot. She's like, I go there, to make sure that what they're seeing really is what they're seeing. She goes, most of the time it's not. Most of the time she goes, I feel bad. She goes, but I have to tell them, no, that's not what you saw. That's not what you heard. But, she was another great interview. But yeah, definitely cryptids. I haven't ever, I've been looking for a good medium or psychic. My thing with that, I've always been, and if anybody's ever heard me talk on the Ghost Hacks podcast, I'm very skeptical or very wary about psychics and mediums.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, me being a correctional officer, right? There's a thing called cold reading. You know about cold reading, right? Yeah. And that's what these fraud psychics and mediums, that's what they, I believe that there are real ones, but the ones that aren't, that are in it to trick people, they use cold reading, and if I know how to do that, I mean, I had to learn how to do that as a correctional officer.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. As a correctional officer, you kind of do the same thing, don't you?
Right. I mean, if I'm on a gallery with 100 inmates, I gotta be able to look at one guy and be like, all right, he's acting differently than he did yesterday, or that's not normally who this guy talks to today. Like, why is he talking to him and not with with this other guy that he normally hangs out with? And, you have to know, basically you're working with 100 different personalities. So you have to know how each person thinks. And it's kind of like a sixth sense you have to get, with that. So being that I was able to learn that and I was able to do it, I'm like, and these psychics, some of them are pros at it, they know how to read people.
Yeah, the ones that are making money at it are really good at the,
But I do believe that there are real ones, and I believe that it gives them a bad name. Definitely the bad, the fakes give the real ones a bad name. But I would love to have a real psychic or a real medium to interview. You're
not talking about Miss Cleo.
No, not Miss Cleo. No. I even have my issues with, rest in peace, but Sylvia Brown and John Edward.
Coffee and all them.
I heard John Edward kind of got. Well, that's why I guess he doesn't have a show anymore.
Yeah.
It's
I've never been big into psychics. Do I find it interesting? Yeah, but it's not my thing. My big things are ghosts. I'm really big into hauntings and different things like that. It was kind of cool though, talking about psychics. Ryan and I just last night went to the Haunted America conference in Alton, Illinois, and there were quite a few like tarot card readers there and mediums and stuff, and then there was a lot of people in the paranormal field, a lot of authors and stuff. Super cool, kind of hanging out with all these people and getting to rub elbows with everybody. It was pretty neat. We didn't go as well. We kind of went as the Horror Chronicles, but we bought tickets. We weren't there with a booth or anything, but I'm telling you right now, next year we're going to have a booth there because, man, it was cool hanging out with them people.
Yeah, I actually have a couple things coming up as well because there's a couple things over near me that's going to be happening. There's the Ed and Lorraine Warren Paracon, which I'm
Oh yeah.
extremely excited. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this the first day. The first day is where they're going to have all the conferences and all the speakers and stuff. But I was able to get the second day, which the second day the booths are still going to be out. That's in Connecticut. But the thing I'm really, really excited about is that they're going to have a bunch of Ed and Lorraine's cursed items from their museum there, including the real Annabelle doll. So I'm like super excited to see that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, just to see the Annabelle doll in person would be pretty insane.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, so I'm definitely you know, and the thing is, I said to myself, I said I have to go. I have because it's only an hour away from my house.
Oh
know?
yeah, yeah.
And
So
the
is
thing,
that where you're at? You're in Connecticut?
well, no, I'm in upstate New York.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm like 15 minutes from Connecticut.
I got you.
Around that. But yeah, so the one reason why I really want to get there is because now Ed and Lorraine, you know, we all know they passed away a while ago.
Right.
And their nephew has been running everything. But their museum got shut down permanently recently.
Yeah, we heard about that.
Mainly, I think it's because all these Annabelle movies started coming out and all the Conjuring movies started coming out. And their museum is on a residential street in a residential house. So, you know, everybody was driving by. Everybody was making... And the neighbors complained, and the cops...
Everybody wants to see it
down. The cops ended up shutting it down, and the thing is, Ed and Lorraine aren't here anymore, so they're not here to save it, you know? Unfortunately. So, you know, it had to shut down permanently. And the rumor I heard is that Mr. Bagans...
Yeah.
may purchase all of the Warrens stuff and bring it to his museum in Vegas. And I said, man, I got to see this stuff before he brings it to Vegas.
Yeah.
While it's still on this coast, I gotta see it.
Right. You know, it's funny. My wife and I went to Vegas about a year and a half ago, and we were. I told her, I said, I want to go there. And we were with a big party, and it was fun. Nobody else wanted to go, you know. And my wife, she's not into this kind of stuff at all, you know. But she's like, "Look, if you really want to go, I'll go with you." And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to make you do that because I know how that would have ended up. You know, I'd have been running, you know, like a kid in a candy store, and she'd have been like, "Are you ready to go yet?
Right?
Can we go? Can we, you know?" And I just didn't want to do that to her.
Sure.
You know, we were out there for a friend of hers' wedding, and it wasn't really a vacation. So, yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to see it. But, you know, I'm not a big Zach Baggins fan.
Thank you.
You know.
See, we got
whatever. He does his
something
own
else
thing
in common now, man.
He does his own thing, and, you know, God bless him. But, you know, just not.
Yeah.
I don't think that every time you walk into a haunted house, you should get possessed. But
I don't like the guy either, and I'll tell you, it's mainly because when I watched the first couple episodes when he first started, and I couldn't stand how disrespectful he was going into some of these locations. You know, standing at the top of the steps saying, "Oh, you like pushing people down the stairs? Why don't you try pushing me down the stairs?" Like, I'll push you down the stairs. You know, like cut the crap, man. Like, you know. It's I do not like the guy.
He used to crack me up because he was the only person I knew that would like blatantly taunt a spirit and then freak the fuck out when something happened.
Well, see, that's
scream like a little girl.
That's my other complaint. Right now, I do love some of the paranormal shows. I don't particularly like the ghost hunting type shows anymore.
Right.
But, you know, I like paranormal caught on camera and stuff like that. I think some of that stuff is cool. The haunting. I always love the haunting.
Yeah.
But I just see, again, to bring up that I'm a correctional officer. As a correction officer, if I'm walking down a tier and I hear somebody scream, if I hear a blood-curdling scream, I have to run towards that scream. That's my job.
Yeah.
I have to run towards that scream to see what's going on. If you're a ghost hunter, and you hear something and you're running away from it, what kind of ghost hunter are you?
Right. Yeah.
You know, go towards that. go towards that sound, not run away from it like a little bitch.
Yeah. Some of these shows, I agree with you. Some of these shows are really cool. Like when the original Ghost Hunters started,
Definitely.
that first season was phenomenal. I mean,
Absolutely.
I was glued to the TV every week. It was fantastic. And even Jason Hawes, I mean, when he talks about it, he's like, about the end of season 2 into season 3, things changed because the network was paying them so much money that they wanted them to start making stuff up.
Right.
And he just wasn't wanting to do that.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah.
And I get it. And it was funny that, I told you we went to this Haunted America conference last night, and they had a like a Q&A with a bunch of the paranormal people that were there, and the that topic came up about when somebody like shopping paranormal groups, like somebody claims their house is haunted, they'll bring a paranormal group in, and that group won't necessarily find anything or notice anything, so then they'll call a different paranormal group and they'll get them in there, and they may sense this or find this or whatever, and oh no, we don't really care for that, let's get another one to come in here. And there's some people out there that do that, and they'll shop around until they get the right paranormal group in there that tells them what they want to hear.
Right.
I don't want that. I'm not into that. I want to know the truth. Yeah. I want to know what's out there. I have been chasing ghosts since I was 10 years old. And I want to know what's out there.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I agree with you as far as the first season of Ghost Hunters was amazing, because I think maybe in that whole first season, they might have said that there was a ghost maybe in 2 episodes.
Right.
Everything else, they debunked everything. And I loved that. I loved it because I'm like, well, that's real. These guys are for real. They're really trying to go in there and really find something. And the fact that, they said, no, we can't explain this. I'm like, all right, well, I believe them because they explained everything else from the past 5 episodes.
Right.
So yeah, no, I definitely like that. And I actually got to interview somebody that was on the first two seasons also, which was amazing, which was the demonologist Carl Johnson.
Okay.
Who was awesome. I mean, that dude, when I tell you his stories, oh my God, that dude was, and one of the coolest guys I ever met. Just like he embodies an exorcist, like he looks like the dude that was in The Exorcist with the hat. And I'm like, wow, this dude is just cool.
Wow. That's awesome,
that was definitely one of the coolest interviews I've ever done. I definitely can't wait to interview him again. I'll probably do it again on the new podcast, hopefully.
Yeah. And you mentioned a while ago, see, this is how we do it, man. We just have conversations about random stuff. But you mentioned a while ago that show Ghost Caught on Camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you do this, but I do it all the time. My wife will occasionally watch these shows with me, but not very often. But there are a lot of times I'll be watching that show, and they'll show something, and I'll have to stop it and try and figure out how they did that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I do that is because if I can figure out how they did that, then is it truly real? Did that really happen?
Right.
Or can I break it down enough to figure out, hey, I know how they moved that. I know how they could have done that.
Right.
I have been big into theatrics and stuff my whole life. Huge Halloween freak. I've been big into haunted house, the haunted house industry itself. And, with that, it's all parlor tricks and trying to figure out how to make things look not really what they are, And
right.
So a lot of times when I'm watching those shows, I'll try and break that stuff down. And there's a lot of times you can't. That's like, I don't know how the hell they did that.
Yeah, I remember one that really freaked me out, which I don't know where. I think it might have been like an antique shop or something. Where
the one where the glass shattered and yes, that was very creepy.
I watched that. I'm like, holy crap! I think that was real.
Yeah, that was like a second-hand store or something.
How could you make that happen?
Mm-hmm.
that's. I mean, I can't say it's impossible because I don't know all the stuff.
I mean, anything's possible. But
right.
And let me throw this out there. I'm not trying to debunk all this stuff that's on there. I'm not trying to do that.
Sure.
I'm trying to, in my own head, how plausible is that for somebody to be able to pull that off?
Right.
Because I pretty much take everything at face value. I want to believe everything.
Sure.
You can't, though. I mean, there's so much trickery out there that, so that's kind of what I'm saying is I'll look at these and I'll be like, if I can't figure out how they did it, yeah, sure, there's a way they could have done it, but man.
My thing though is maybe years ago it would get your 15 minutes of fame, but you really don't get 15 minutes of fame for that kind of stuff anymore. So why would people be doing it?
Right.
Just to trick people, is not really like you're not going to be making any money off of it.
Right.
Having your video on, Paranormal Code on camera, they're not paying you any money for that.
No.
So it's like, what are you really getting out of it other than people saying, oh crap, that looks crazy. Other than that, it's all right, great. And then it goes into the vault and it's never shown again. So what's the point of even faking something like that anymore? Years ago, okay, but not really anymore. It's so out there now.
Right. Well, and that's a big thing too, is years ago. So, I'm old. I grew up during the 70s and the 80s. And like I said, I've been into this stuff since I was a kid, and back then, we occasionally got a show, about something paranormal. Typically, it was, like a haunting show, or whatever, where it would be a dramatization and they would be telling you the true story behind whatever had happened. And then it seems like, sometime in the 90s, we started getting pushed with all these different paranormal shows. I mean, we had Ghost Hunters, we had Paranormal State, the list goes on and on and on. What happened there? Why did all of a sudden it become so emphatic for people to be on TV talking about paranormal? To me, it kind of took something away from it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, like Halloween, the movie Halloween, right? When you don't know anything about Michael Myers, it's a lot creepier because you don't know what's going on in that guy's head, know. But when Rob Zombie puts out Halloween and tells you his whole life story, it makes it to where it's like, okay, well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's the one horror movie I grew up, again, I was born in 1980, right? So, so I was watching horror movies at 7 years old, 8 years old. Parents, weren't on top of kids like we are today.
Right. Yeah, you can get away with it.
Right. So we would go to the video store. Me and my cousin would be like, "Yeah, let's watch this." My aunt would be like, "What is that?" "Oh, don't worry about it." Friday the 13th, Part 6. Let's watch that. But I was never really into Halloween. I don't know why. I guess I just didn't see it until later on in life, and it's. My only gripe with Halloween is the fact that, and it's funny too, because I was having a discussion with people at work about this just the other day, and they're like, "No, Halloween, no, Michael Myers is supernatural." I said, "No, he's just a homicidal maniac." Yeah. I said, "He's just crazy. He's a regular dude."
Right.
I said, "He's just nuts." I said, "There's nothing supernatural about Michael Myers." I said, That's what I didn't really care for that much, is because the dude's been shot, blown up, all sorts of things, and he's still alive. That's a little silly. I said, at least Friday the 13th, Jason's a zombie. So anything could happen to that dude, and he's going to be okay, But that was my one thing. But yeah, I enjoyed, and I know, I hope I don't get a lot of hate mail for this, but I enjoyed the Rob Zombie.
Oh my God, don't say it. No, I'm just kidding.
I enjoyed it. I think he picked that dude that he got to play Michael Myers was
Tyler Mane.
monster. Yeah, he's a monster, that guy.
Oh yeah, he's huge. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Rob Zombie's Halloween, I'm not saying I hate it. It's not my favorite of the series, and I've been pretty vocal about that. My whole thing is in that movie, we didn't need that first half hour of the movie. We didn't need you to dissect the family and tell us all about Michael and why he turned out the way he did. I felt it took away some of the mystery that Carpenter built into that role.
Okay.
You know?
Well, I guess he had to have his wife in there, you know.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. She's got to be in everything.
Yeah, so I guess.
And I'm not complaining about that either.
No, hell no. She was getting a little up there over, in that time, but she still looks pretty good, you know.
Definitely.
But yeah,
so what is your favorite horror movie?
Oh man,
I know that's a big question, man.
Yeah, man, because and it's funny too because I do say I'm a horror fan, but there's so many horror movies that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
You know, for example, I've never seen any Hellraisers. You know, I just never got around to watching them. I've never seen the Alien movies or the Predator movies. I've never seen any of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I would say The Exorcist, but at the same time, the first half hour is just it just drags so much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It does. It does. They build up to a hell of a climax.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I usually just fast forward through most of that stuff in the beginning because I'm like, wow, this stuff is just.
Yeah, they do a lot of character building at the beginning of that film.
I mean, it's warranted. I mean, you have to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have to make Reagan look like the innocent little girl and see her playing on the Ouija board and stuff like that. You know, all that. But Friday the 13th movies will always be some of my favorites. But honestly, I'd probably say the newer one, probably The Conjuring, man. I think The Conjuring is one of the best horror movies to ever come out.
James Wan is the man.
Incredible. That movie, and that movie came out, 2013?
2013, yeah. Okay. You know, and what was crazy about that is so many people were, not the true horror fans like us, but there were so many people that were dogging that movie and dissing that movie. And they weren't looking at what had just happened. In 2013, James Wan released The Conjuring, and it became the #1 movie at the box office for like 12 weeks straight or something like that. And we hadn't had that in the horror genre ever.
Wow.
Ever. I don't even think The Exorcist did that.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that movie, and it's funny too.
I could be wrong, but
right. I mean, I was like 30 because I didn't see it in the movies. I wish I had, but I saw it maybe a year or two later.
Yeah.
It scared the crap out of me.
Absolutely.
My favorite kinds of horror movies are the ones, and I'm sure you'll agree, are the genuinely scary horror movies.
Yeah.
And those are usually the ones that are based off of religion, like The Exorcist, The Conjuring, stuff like that. Any Stigmata, The Omen, anything that has some kind of religious aspect in it is always scarier than the jump scare stuff that comes out.
That's crazy. We don't talk about the Stigmata that much.
Yeah, Stigmata was
one of those movies that kind of escapes us. And it's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
It just, it kind of flies in there under the radar. But yeah, The Conjuring, that whole series, has been great. I'll say that the second film was different from the first, I'm not going to say it was a bad film because I like it. But I absolutely love the first movie. Love it. I've watched that movie so many times I could almost recite it.
Yeah,
it's just like a fantastic film.
That hide and clap game, or whatever that. Come on. That and
And the chick on top of the wardrobe.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I almost shit my pants.
and I watched that at work again, like, because we get some good breaks and stuff at work. So, and we have a nice TV in the break room. So, and it's funny too, because I'll be putting on a horror movie and one of my coworkers will come in and be like, really, bro? Like, I can't watch this at 3 o'clock in the morning, because I work the midnight shift. They're like, you're going to have to turn this. I can't watch this at 2 o'clock in the morning, dude. It scares shit out of me. Like, I can't do it. Like, damn.
Dude, I tell you what, you being a correctional officer in the line of work you're doing, I tell you a movie you ought to watch while you're at work is a movie called Last Shift. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
It is about a demon that invades a jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's very creepy. Very creepy.
I'll definitely.
Very outlandish, though. But, man, I tell you what, if I, Jesus, to watch that while you were at work, yeah, that'd probably screw with you.
Oh, I'm definitely doing that. No, I'm definitely doing that now. Because they always say something like, he's putting on another horror movie. Oh, there's a horror movie on. He had to have been in here before. Yeah. Joe had to have been in here before. Like, it's. I'm the horror guy. I'm the paranormal guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
When I told them that I was going to this Ed and Lorraine Paracon with the real Annabelle doll and everything, they're like, listen, I don't want to see any pictures. They're like, I don't even think we want you here for the next couple days after you go to that thing.
After you come home, yeah. You're afraid something's going to follow you home.
I'm like, listen, I'm not a religious guy, but I'm going to say some kind of prayer before and after, because I don't want anything attaching to me, But I said to them, listen, this demon or spirit or whatever that's been in the Annabelle doll has been in there for a really long time. I'm sure she's not going to want to follow me home. Of all the people that she'd want to follow home, I'm sure it wouldn't be me. So I think you'd be safe with that.
Yeah, that's when you tell them, I think she'd want to follow you home.
I told them, I said, I'm going to take because you're allowed to take pictures with Annabelle behind the glass. Nice. So I'm like, I said, I'll take a picture, I'll blow it up, poster size, and I'm putting it right on that wall. They're like, you better fucking not. You better not. I said, I swear to God, you better not.
That's cool, man. Dude, that sounds like a blast. That's one thing Ryan and I have really been wanting to do is go to some, conventions and some stuff like that. Yeah. And that's why we were so excited about getting to go to this conference, yesterday. It was actually a weekend deal, and we had planned to stay all weekend. Well, he ended up having to work today. Well, and that's why he's not here tonight. Right. But if he wouldn't have worked, we'd have stayed up there all weekend and went, all day today too. That's there's some coming up. There's been a lot of us podcasters talking on Facebook about trying to get together at one of these conventions somewhere. A lot of people are talking about Horror Hound in Ohio. I was throwing out there, maybe Scarefest in Lexington. It's in September, and I don't know, I don't know what will happen with that, but it might be cool. Actually, it was some buddies of Bill's that had been posting that, and so we had thought, maybe we'll try and get in on that.
Yeah, there's another one that I'm actually going to be going to. The name is going to escape me right now, but it's in Woodbridge, New Jersey, at the I believe the Woodbridge High School, and that's in September, the end of September, and that's more of a I guess it's more of a conference more than anything. That's going to have actually Jason Hawes and the guys from Ghost Hunters are going to be there. Okay, yeah. The man that you mentioned before, Chip Coffey, is going to be there. Yeah, as well as a bunch of other paranormal people in the field. So I'm definitely looking forward to going there, and I'm going to make some business cards with the podcast and kind of hand them out. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. That. Well, that's what we did yesterday. We had a bunch of stickers made up. We were just giving them to everybody, Nice. So, man, you talk about New Jersey, you need to go over and do the Camp Crystal Lake thing.
Oh, I saw that.
Dude, that would be so badass. Yeah, that would be so awesome. I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan.
I think it was a lot of money. I think it was something like $159 or $160. I said, yeah.
Really?
My wife would not let.
She wouldn't go for that. Yeah.
No, not for that kind of money.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. It just sounded cool what they were,
Oh, definitely, absolutely.
to be there, just to be there,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, that was my first love, man. Friday the 13th movies.
Hell yeah.
I think the first horror movie that I could remember seeing as my first one was Friday the 13th Part 6. I think that was Jason Lives. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the first horror movie I think I've ever seen. And
yeah, that's where they wake him up in the coffin with the freaking metal spike and the lightning.
Lightning. Yep, exactly. And then there was some weird dude in the woods that broke a branch off the tree, and he's trying to put the branch back on the tree like an idiot.
Oh yeah.
They always had some kind of weird comedy stuff in it too.
Oh yeah. They did a lot of that stuff, and see, like, it's funny. I have several favorite Friday the 13th movies, but the one that I always gravitate back to is the one that most people probably hate the most, and that's Part 3. And I just love that film just for the aspect of, that's when Jason gets the iconic hockey mask, and,
okay.
And, there's just so much campiness with that film,
Did he have the potato sack on that one or in the second one? I know
the second one is where he had the potato sack. The third one, he actually finds the hockey mask. Actually, there's a guy pulling pranks on people in the camp. And he ends up killing that guy and taking the hockey mask, and he puts it on, and that's the first time you see Jason with the hockey mask. And then, of course, it's just iconic from there.
Well, you were saying what was my favorite horror movie, and I think I actually found the one that probably is my favorite. I would probably say series is I absolutely love the Evil Dead movies.
Evil Dead?
I absolutely love the. Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, definitely. The chin
is awesome. I mean, he's just a great hero.
Yeah.
And just like how silly and stuff that he is, but he pulls it off, man. I always like Bruce Campbell.
Definitely. And they did themselves a huge favor with that Ash versus Evil Dead series, man.
I love that.
That whole series was just killer.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they kept it exactly like the movies, as if it was a real continuation, and it worked out so good. I was so mad that they canceled it after the third. I mean, I didn't expect it to last long,
right? Oh yeah, because they never do.
No. I was hoping that one day Netflix would pick it up, and I've been hearing that there might be a new another Evil Dead coming out with Bruce Campbell in it.
Nice.
Which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But I was hoping like Netflix or Amazon would pick that up eventually.
Right. Well, I know they're all on Netflix now, but I don't know that we're going to get a fourth season, but who knows?
I loved Kelly. Kelly was awesome.
Yeah.
And the other kid that was in it.
What was his Ruffalo or?
We're going to sound really bad right now. Was it Pedro? I think it was Pedro.
Pedro, that's what it was. Yeah. Pedro.
Yep. I think all the characters were awesome in that. Even the one that played Xena, Lucy Lawless.
Lucy Lawless,
yeah. She was awesome in that too.
Oh, yeah.
That whole series.
Yeah, fantastic. What did you think of the reboot? With Jane Levy in it.
I thought it was all right. I mean,
I love that movie, man. I thought that movie was awesome.
I don't want to sound like an old guy, but I love the original one so much. But I thought it was a great remake. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
I definitely, as far as remakes go, I think it was definitely one of the better remakes. To come out.
We talk about remakes a lot, because remakes, we're not big into remakes, but there are a few where the remake was, pretty damn good. And that Evil Dead remake was one of them,
Friday the 13th remake was okay.
Yeah, and it's funny, that film, I didn't care for it the first time I saw it. And now I really like it. I watch it, I usually watch it every year around Halloween, and Ryan and I actually did a Friday the 13th episode. We did it outside one year. I think that was year before last. it was cool. There was a full moon out that night, and it was Friday the 13th. So we thought we're going to do a live episode, and so we did one, and we were watching that movie in the background, and it was so funny because when you get to that part where you've got that, that like 15-minute long sex scene, Ryan and I are just talking away, and all of a sudden that scene started. And next thing you know, there's not a word spoken. And then we're like, oh shit. Oh, hey. Because you get distracted, what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
What can I say? I'm a man.
The one remake I didn't care for was the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Yeah.
I mean,
as a movie,
that dude was awesome. I think that actor was great, but I didn't like that they made him a child molester.
Yeah,
child murderer, okay, murderer, fine.
Right.
But when you put him out there as a child molester, you make it like a little more dirty than to me it should have been.
Yeah. I didn't care for the guy that played Krueger.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm with you as an actor. I think the guy's a phenomenal actor. I just didn't care for him playing the part of Krueger, right. Because and it's because we're all Robert Englund fans, and if Robert Englund would have been playing Krueger in that movie, it'd have been a fantastic film.
Sure,
but I'm with you on the whole molestation thing. We didn't need to go there, And
I think if I remember correctly, I think he wanted to. And they didn't let him or something. They didn't choose him, or I forget exactly what happened. But I think he wanted to do it.
Robert Englund wanted that film, and they wouldn't let him do it?
I believe.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I believe
That's
so.
moronic.
I mean, how can you not? I mean, he is Freddy Krueger. Right. There's nobody better. Just like it's funny because they all put the mask on, but there's no better Jason than Kane Hodder. I don't care which one you see or whatever, but just it's funny because I know they all wear the mask and they don't talk, but there's something about Kane Hodder's Jason, the way he walks, the way he looks through the mask, or
just the way he breathes, how he.
Yeah,
he's so menacing, I mean,
no better Jason than Kane Hodder.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And he was kind of, I don't know if you've seen his, he put out a documentary or like a biography called From Hell and Back. And he talks about how he wanted that role in the Freddy versus Jason movie. And they denied him. They wouldn't let him do it.
Wow.
And they went with somebody. Did they use Derek Mears for that?
Oh, yeah.
And Kane Hodder wanted that role. And he said they wouldn't even tell him he couldn't have it. He just all of a sudden heard a few weeks later that Derek Mears was going to be playing the part of Jason.
Wow.
And he was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
I mean,
I got to say, though, that I really enjoyed that movie. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed Freddy vs. Jason because I felt like they portrayed both of those characters the right way.
Yeah.
Freddy played Freddy. And Jason, I think they did a great job on that movie.
I tell you what, I was, I went to the theater and saw that film when it came out, and I was scared to death walking into the theater. I'm like, oh my God, they are going to absolutely ruin both of these franchises in one shot. And that movie actually is really good.
Yeah.
The way they put that together and the way they played those two parts. Mm-hmm. They made a true horror film out of it. I thought they were going to make just some campy ass piece of crap,
right?
And they didn't. I mean, I think they surprised everybody with that film.
And actually, I would probably say my favorite Jason kill is from that movie. And
which one is that?
I believe he stabs somebody through a bed, and then he presses the button on the bed, and the bed folds the guy up.
Yeah.
I said that's definitely my favorite Jason kill ever.
Yeah.
That was just awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's funny. We talk about that all the time, too, like favorite kills from movies. And you talking about Jason kills, I think the one that I absolutely love the most is, and it was from a bad movie, was the frozen face scene from Jason X.
Oh boy.
When he freezes that chick's face
Oh yeah.
in the nitrogen,
Right.
and then he pulls her back and he looks at her and he slams her head down on, and her whole face just shatters off. And he actually pulls her head back up and looks at it like, look at what I just did, and then just tosses her body. I don't know why. I just love that scene. I love every movement they did there. But that's Kane Hodder. I mean, that's how he did shit,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's like I said, it's just funny because it's a dude behind a mask, but you could just tell, like you were just like, wow, that dude is insane. Like
he's got a huge passion for horror.
Yeah.
And he does it right. I mean, a lot of people hate the Hatchet series. I love that series. And it was because of Kane Hodder. Yeah, it's campy as hell, but man, there's some kill scenes on there that are just totally outlandish and they're awesome.
Yeah.
Have you seen those films?
I've never seen them. No, I've never seen the Hatchet.
You have got to watch at least the first movie. They kind of go downhill after that. They're still okay to watch, but the first film is really good. And Kane Hodder plays the villain, Victor Crowley. And man, there's some kill scenes on there that are just freaking blow your mind. You're like, holy shit, I can't believe they just did that on film, and it's like, yeah, it was a really cool series.
Well, I mean, my favorite Friday the 13th might be probably one that a lot of people forget about, actually, is my favorite one is part 7 with Tina, the telekinesis girl.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one. That's probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite Friday the 13th, honestly, because Jason met his match. She kicked his ass in that movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was a good one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was young when they first came out, so I didn't see the first one until, probably in my 20s. I probably didn't see the first Friday the 13th, or even the ones after that. Like I said, I think I started with 6, and then I worked my way up. Jason Goes to Hell was an abomination. I don't know what they what that. Jason wasn't even in there.
They set us up for Freddy versus Jason on that, though.
That's true. It's true.
But
at the end, sure. But like in the beginning,
yeah, you're right.
The whole movie wasn't even Jason, because they blew him up in the beginning, and then it was just other people eating his heart or something like that. Like the whole, what the hell is this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But no.
Oh yeah. Friday the 13th, man. Great series. Just makes me smile when I think about it.
Yeah. It's funny. Slasher movies make people smile. Us horror people, at least.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get back into your show here a little bit.
Sure.
So, you're talking about UFOs, you're talking about paranormal events and stuff, and cryptids and all that other stuff. What is, I guess really what I'd like to know is out of all of that, what is your favorite genre to talk about?
The ghosts.
The ghosts and the hauntings.
Ghosts and haunting stuff, yeah, definitely. Because like I said, I've had many, well, not many, but like I said, a handful of experiences.
So what kind of experiences have you had?
Okay. Let's see. The first one I had was probably when I was 6 or 7. I just try to keep it quick. I was sleeping in my grandparents' apartment building in Palmanock, Queens. And I was sleeping in a bed with, I was young. I was 6, 7 years old. And I had my cousin, Amanda, sleeping next to me, and then my sister sleeping next to her. All 3 of us were sleeping in the same bed. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night, and I look up, and I see this white figure moving down the hallway, going into a room, and then it kept doing the same motion over and over and over.
Okay.
And I'm watching it, and I'm just looking at it, and I could remember like it was yesterday. This entity, it had no feet, like it was definitely floating. It wasn't like it was my grandparent or anything like that. This thing was floating, and it was all white, transparent kind of. And
it had form like a body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And so me being the smart 6, 7-year-old I was, I woke up my cousin, and she saw it also. So she, even to this day, she'll still say that she saw it as well. So she saw it too. And then after about a minute, I got scared and I screamed, and all the lights went on, and that was the end of that. That was my first experience. I've seen other full-bodied apparitions before, after that incident. But I always felt like it was weird because I don't know how to really explain it. I can't say I'm a magnet towards it, but I've always felt like when I ask for a sign, I get a sign.
Right.
Like I'll say, if there's something here, give me a sign, and then something will fall off a shelf or something weird will happen. And I'll be like,
funny because as soon as you said that, I heard a noise on the other side of the garage here.
Okay. All right. We'll check this out. No. You don't understand. Okay. Before you came on the video here, I was setting my stuff up, and now to the left of me is my sliding door to my backyard. Right.
Okay.
There's nobody outside. There's nobody outside. My kids are upstairs. Everybody's upstairs getting ready to go to sleep. And I hear a knock on my freaking sliding door next to me. I said, you know what? I'm just going to ignore that.
Nice.
I'm just ignoring that, and I'm just going to go on with the show because I'm not doing this right now.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of stuff, and it's weird because, I don't know. I can't even explain it. Is it a sensitive? I don't know what to call it, but like I said, whenever I ask for a sign, something always happens. So I don't ask for signs anymore.
I get it.
Because I just moved into this house a year and a half ago. I have children now, and I don't want to scare them.
Right.
I don't want anything to happen to scare them. But it turns out that first experience that I had, my father lived in that same apartment building when he was a teenager. With my grandparents, and he had experiences there as well. And he didn't tell me until many years later that one time he was sitting on his bed, and he said, "If there's a God, give me a sign." And his bedroom door slammed shut. And that was the same room that I was sleeping in when I saw the entity.
Wow.
So I'm like, is this hereditary? Like this ask me for a sign thing? Is this hereditary, or is it just, I don't know.
It could be something that's passed down.
Well, what's crazy is that I have an 8-year-old daughter, right? And ever since we moved into this house, now I don't feel any kind of energy in here. I never felt like there's anything here. But my daughter has said that she'll be in the bathroom and she'll knock on the wall, and she gets knocks back sometimes. And that's kind of like asking for a sign. If you're knocking on the wall, waiting for somebody to do something, that's like asking for something.
I'm creepy.
Like, crap, maybe she inherited the thing that my dad, because she's very much like me, her personality, her, the way she is very much like me. So I'm like, man, maybe she got the same kind of thing that me and my dad have. If it is hereditary. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I don't ask for stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But like, that thing happened right here. Yeah. Well, that's why it's funny. I've been trying to get into, I told you before, I've been trying to get into voiceover and audiobook narration.
Yeah.
So there's a website where you audition for books, and you could audition for as many books as you want, and they'll get back to you and say, all right, you got the book, you're gonna narrate my book. So I auditioned for like 5 books, and what's the one that gets back to me? The Demonologist Encyclopedia.
Oh,
where you have to read off 3,000 demon names and read off who they are, what they did, and like their history.
Holy crap.
And I'm saying, I don't know if I should do that one. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel comfortable speaking 3,000 demon names in my house.
Right.
Like I said, I'm not a religious person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Something
But there's some things
right with
you
me.
just shouldn't screw with.
Right. And you shouldn't say any demon names, and I'm going to be saying 3,000 of them in my house. I ended up passing on that book.
Yeah, I don't blame
Not
you.
even for that. I actually I started it, and I was at the preface, and I got halfway through it, and I couldn't pronounce half the freaking words on it. And I'm like,
Right.
all right, if I have to look up all these words and I'm only halfway through the preface, there's no way I'm getting through a 417-page book.
Right. Yeah, it'll take you forever.
Exactly. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to pass on that as well. But yeah, I mean, saying the 3,000 demon names, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Blame you.
Yeah. But I've never seen anything. Luckily, from the experiences that I've had, I don't believe that any of them were demonic or evil in any way.
Okay. Nothing threatening or anything like that.
No, it just seems like they were, entities that were people that passed on. That seems like the ones that
kind of like a residual haunting.
Yeah, residual or intelligent. Yeah, one of those regular hauntings. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Another quick one that happened to me one time was, actually, a friend of mine also kind of had a little bit of I don't know if you would call it an ability, but somebody that was also sensitive to this kind of paranormal stuff. And whenever me and him would get together, it was like magnified, the stuff that would happen. And it was incredible. So we hadn't seen each other in a couple of weeks, and this must have been when we were like 23, 24 years old. And he comes over to my house, we're watching TV or whatever. And I said to him, I said, hey, have you had any like paranormal experiences lately? He goes, no. He goes, you? I said, no. Right. All of a sudden, now I have a coffee table in front of the couch. All of a sudden, the cable remote lifts up off the table and flies across the room on the floor. And we just looked at each other and said, okay, like, well, there you go. There's our experience. Thanks.
Wow.
And there's no way to explain that. I mean, it's the cable remote, the big ass, cable remotes that are like a foot long, that are heavy. And it just honestly lifted up off the coffee table and flew on the floor. And I said, yeah, okay. Let's just not even talk about that. Let's just keep on going.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've had knocks on doors, it's so, like I said, I haven't had a lot of experiences, but the ones that I've had are very significant.
Right. And I mean, that's like us. I mean, I told you I've been into paranormal since I was a kid. I mean, I haven't had a lot of experience, with it. A few instances here or there, shadow people here, things moving in the house, typical stuff. But, the way Ryan and I always look at that is, when I was younger, it was hard for me to talk to my friends about some of the stuff that I would see or deal with or whatever. Or not necessarily, but the things I was into, and, because they just didn't want to believe you. And, paranormal is one of those things where it's extremely personal.
Right.
Until it happens to you, you're never going to believe it. You're going to be a skeptic until something happens.
Sure.
And it only takes one thing to turn you into a believer,
I agree.
It's a crazy world we live in. There's a lot going on right now. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, like you said, the paranormal, there's just so much to it, that's the one thing I say on my show a lot too, is that paranormal isn't, when you think of paranormal, a lot of people just think ghosts, hauntings, but there's just so much under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Paranormal, that people don't think about. Like, obviously, UFO, alien stuff, that's under the paranormal umbrella. Cryptids are under the paranormal umbrella. That's honestly, that's a couple of things that I've never experienced. I always wanted to see a UFO. I'm so jealous of people that have seen UFOs.
Yeah.
You know, like, it would scare the crap out of me, but just to see one, I'd be like, wow, there it is. Like,
Finally.
yeah, right. I mean, it would just be amazing. I just wouldn't want the the visit from the Men in Black after that.
Yeah.
That's because
You definitely don't want the probe either.
No. Definitely not the probe.
Right on.
Well, that's the one thing I asked Steve Neal. I said to him, I said, well, what do you think they want? He's like, honestly, he goes, one thing that he had said was that every experience that he's had where they've abducted him, it was never really a scary experience. He said that whatever it was, he said he doesn't know if it was a female like extraterrestrial, or if it was like giving off a female vibe or something, but he said that it was almost like a motherly vibe.
Wow.
When he saying to him, everything is going to be okay, we're not going to hurt you, and like, he said it was a very different experience than you see in the movies. He said it's not. He said, like, for example, another great, I guess you would call it a horror movie or a sci-fi movie that I loved, that I saw in the movie theater, was Fire in the Sky, the Travis Walton story. Yeah. And he said that was completely fabricated. He said especially the abduction scene was completely untrue. He said, I talked to Travis myself. He said that was completely not what happened to him. That was completely Hollywood right there.
Oh, yeah.
He said there's no anal probe. He said there's no probes like that.
Right.
Going into your eyes. He said, do I have a chip in me? He goes, yes. He goes, I have 2 chips in me that they implanted. But he's like, it wasn't, he said it's not like that. So, I mean, he was, like I said, a very interesting guy, very knowledgeable.
Dude, I'd love to talk to that guy.
Jeez. Yeah, he's just a straight up nice guy too. Not a wet mop. Will joke around with you. He's really, really cool guy. So I'm happy to meet a guy like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's hard to good people to interview on podcasts.
Yeah.
I've been trying to find. I mean, that's the one thing that I've struggled with, was trying to get like the right guest for the show.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I had interviewed, well, it was me and my old co-host Tom. We had interviewed this guy that claimed to be a cryptozoologist. And he was just so full of it that I didn't even air it. I couldn't do it. It was just, I didn't want people to hear hear the stuff that he was saying. Not even like first off, he wasn't very engaging. I had to keep pulling answers out of him. And that's already a bad interview right there, when you have to pull answers from people. But at the same time, he had told me, oh, I'm going to send you some pictures of, he claimed to be a cryptozoologist. And when I said to him, I said, so you're a cryptozoologist? He said, yeah. He goes, anybody could get that degree online. I said, oh, great.
Jesus.
Center of Excellence. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Great. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to send you some pictures, and maybe we'll talk about these pictures that I'll send you. All right, great. I figured this guy was going to send me pictures of some of the stuff that he caught or whatever, right? No, he sends me like a drawing of Bigfoot, like a stock image of something else, and then this other picture where I'm like, all right, maybe that picture looks pretty cool. Maybe we'll talk about that. And then we talked about it, and then after the interview, I looked it up, and I found out that it was a stock image somewhere else online.
Oh God.
So he didn't even take that picture. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I said, this guy, it's too much. I
He
can't.
just basically wasted your time.
Yeah. And his name is, no, I'm just kidding.
No.
No.
You don't need to go there.
No. I would never do that. But yeah, it's just it's hard to find good guests sometimes.
Yeah.
But I know they're out there. But yeah, he was something else. So I couldn't air his interview. It wouldn't have been right to the fans,
That's cool. Well, right on. Well, hey man, it's been awesome talking to you. We probably ought to end this. We're I don't know, about an hour and 20 minutes in here.
Oh wow.
But why don't you tell everybody how they can find you? When is the new season going up?
Okay, so it's probably gonna be the second week of August, Saturday of the second week of August. That's what I'm shooting for.
Okay.
The Warped Reality Podcast. You could actually go on warpedrealitypodcast.com, and I switched it over. You could check out the old Ghost Hacks podcast episodes on there, as well as when I put the new ones up there, they're going to be out there as well. You could email me at ghostjoeny, NY for New York, at gmail.com. And yeah, so that's how you can find me.
And I know you've got a Facebook group for the Ghost Hacks.
Yeah.
Are you going to switch that over to the Warped Reality, or?
Yeah, eventually.
Or are you just going to start a new one for Warped Reality?
I think I might start a new one. Yeah. Okay. I think I might start a new one. Just like I just started a new Instagram Warped Reality podcast page, which is a little disheartening because the Ghost Hacks one has like 3,000 people on it.
Oh.
And I'm starting all over again with the Warped Reality podcast. But, you got to do what you got to do. I don't
Definitely. But hey, you might be able to go and invite all those people to the new one,
Right. Yeah.
And just put a post up. Hey, we're changing this over to Warped Reality.
Yep.
Follow us over there. So you're on all the podcast players.
Yeah. I'm
iTunes, on Spotify, Stitcher, all of that. Okay.
Yep. All that stuff. Excellent. All the major podcasting platforms, and I hope everybody checks out the new podcast.
Definitely. Well, do me a favor. And send me, email me over your links and stuff. And what I'll do is I'll put those in the show notes so they go out to all our fans.
I appreciate that.
Do a little promotion for you.
That'd be great. That's awesome.
Awesome, man.
All right.
Man, it was good talking to you, man. Sorry Ryan wasn't here. If Ryan was here, I don't know what he'd do. He'd probably talk your ear off. But yeah, man, very cool, man. I like what you're doing. Listen to some of the older episodes. Very cool stuff. Can't wait for the new season to come out, man.
Thank you, man. Also, I wanted to say one more thing too.
Yeah, definitely.
I enjoyed your last episode. Well, as of this recording, where you had said that you loved the podcasting community. It's the same reason why I love the podcasting community too, whereas there's really no competition,
No, there's not, man.
I guess it's just because there's so many of us that it's kind of silly to have competition with one another. I mean, everybody can listen to 5 different podcasts of the same subject.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that, And I love the podcasting community. I think it's just that's what actually keeps me going, is the fact that I just love being in the podcasting community so much. I like everybody in it, and everybody's so helpful and so friendly. Yeah, so
and that's how it's been for us too. I mean, we're fairly new to the game. We've been doing this about 3 years.
Oh wow!
We get to meet cool people like you, and we've met all kinds of people. We actually did a big interview with 2 directors and 2 main stars of a movie. There was a movie came out called Hosts. And that was kind of a crazy deal because they were all the way over in England whenever we did the interview. So when we started our interview with them, it was at 5 o'clock our time, but it was 11 o'clock over there. And we ended up on the phone with them for almost 5 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was, and it was one of those deals too, where Ryan was supposed to be here and he was late getting out of work, and he texted me, and we'd been on the phone for like an hour, and he texted me. He's like, "Hey, JT, you still, what are you doing?" I said, "Hey man, we're still on, get over here," And at that point, whenever he texted me, we were, I'd been talking to him for an hour, and we were only like 10 minutes through the movie.
Wow.
I mean, they were super cool to talk to, and they have reached out to us several times. They've got a new movie coming out, and we've talked to them about us, helping them promote that and stuff. We're not big by no means, but it's like you say, man, this whole community of everybody that we've talked to has just been so cool, and I mean, it's fun talking to guys like you, and, we talk to, these guys from these other podcasts. We get invited on shows. We invite people on our show, and we have a good time, man. It's all about having a conversation and making friends and
absolutely
having a good time, man.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh,
man.
Definitely, man. We got to do this again, man. Sometime when you got time for us, I'll reach out to you, and we'll get you on the show again, and we'll have a whole different conversation.
Awesome.
All right.
Maybe we'll talk about some metal next time too.
Yeah, man. Sounds good, man. I'm all into that. Ryan's into that too. He's a big metalhead too. So.
I love your intro music.
Nice. That's actually my band LUNATIC.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
yeah, that's actually.
I was trying to use some other music, and it was from a band that had given me permission to use their stuff, but I kept getting tagged on YouTube for it from their record label. Wow. And I even explained to them, I'm like, I know the guys in the band. They've given me permission to use this, and they didn't care. The record label kept fighting it. It eventually came to a point where, if you keep doing this, we're going to sue you. And I was like, okay, fine, man, whatever.
Right.
So I just use our own music and go on from there. But yeah, man, very cool, man. We'll do this again real soon, man.
Definitely.
All right, brother.
Have a good night, man.
You too, man.
All right, later.
See ya.